Folks for coming. We're here today to discuss a operation that the New York State Police, the Warren County Sheriff's Office, did in conjunction with the FBI over this past weekend. It's an ongoing effort that my agency has had with the FBI for the last 6 months. We've actually attached one of our officers to their TOC unit. We're going to be doing more of these types of things, but the FBI, the feds dubbed this Operation Spider Bite, and this was targeting individuals using social media to entice minors into sexual relationships. So we put out a task force with the New York State Police, the local office here, the BCI office in Queensbury. Carl Maybaum is the senior investigator with the state police, and Sergeant Duncan, who assisted us. What I'm going to do is just basically give you their names, and I'll let you ask the questions that you want to ask. I'm not going to discuss it at length. There are some things that we can answer, there are some things that we can't. And due to the ongoing cases, the details of the operations cannot be released. However, the 12 subjects all solicited various criminal sexual acts with females ranging in ages from 9 to 14 years old. So everybody understands that's what we're dealing with, ages 9 to 14 years old. Now, believe it or not, we were busy with this. You would not believe the number of predators that are out there. It's actually sickening. We were taking turns with the New York State Police making the arrests. We made 6 arrests, they made 6 arrests. First subject is Jose Roberto Zapata. They should be in your packet there, and it should be on your informational sheet. He's from Schenectady, New York, and he was charged with attempted rape in the 2nd degree, a Class E felony. He was arraigned in Queensbury Court, and bail was set at $10,000. Gerald F. Harrington III, age 36, of Lupine Lane in Queensbury, was charged with attempted rape in the 2nd degree, a Class E felony. He was arraigned in Queensbury Court. Bail was set at $1,000. Harrington was remanded to our facility to reappear in court on June the 12th at 10:30 a.m. I don't know how many of these people have bonded out yet, so if you ask me that, I can certainly find out, but I don't know as we're speaking. Thomas J. Clancy III, age 21, of Concord Drive, Saratoga Springs, was charged with attempted rape in the 2nd degree, a Class E felony. Clancy was arraigned in Queensbury Court. Bail set in the amount of $1,000. Mark D. Hodges, age 63, of New Loudon Road in Latham, was charged with attempted rape in the 1st degree, a Class C felony. Attempted aggravated sexual abuse in the 3rd degree, a Class E felony. And criminal possession of a weapon in the 4th degree, a Class A misdemeanor. He was arraigned in Queensbury Court. Bail was set at $7,500 cash. Roger P. Whiting III, age 43, of Mallory Avenue in Queensbury, was charged with attempted rape, the 2nd degree, a Class E felony. Whiting was arraigned in Queensbury Court. Bail set in the amount of $1,500 cash. Do you want to mention these?
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, the last one that we arrested was Paul Wilson, age 31, of Ethan Allen Street in Fort Edward. He was charged with attempted criminal sexual act in the 2nd degree, a Class E felony, and he was released on his own recognizance. The following defendants were arrested by the New York State Police investigators. Peter J. Fava, age 41, of Halifax, Massachusetts. William K. O'Connell, age 46, of Fort Edward, New York. Timothy Celeste, age 49, Glens Falls, New York. Adam S. Heidman, age 32, of Schenectady, New York. Thomas G. Abrams, 52, of Wappingers Falls, New York. And Frank L. Gunther, age 61, of Mechanicville, New York. Now, I'll take questions now. I'm sure if you've read the release, you're going to have a bunch of questions. And I'll answer the best I can.
Tell us about, you said it was 6 months long. You guys have been communicating with these suspects?
No, Steve, that's not true. It hasn't been 6 months, but we've been working with the FBI for the last 6 months on developing a program. Correct?
The task force relationship has been 6 months long. This is a fairly new effort.
How does this work? Do they reach out to you? What happens?
I'm not going to discuss how it works. I don't want to give the information out. I don't want to give somebody a way of getting around it.
Well, why'd you do it? Why'd you guys decide to do this? And
Because it's out there. There's a lot of it out there happening right down the street from probably where you live, and people don't know about it. It's happening all over. That's why we decided to do it.
Now, Sheriff, you said that this is just, absolutely disgusting for you, and there are a few people of note on here. I mean, a DJ for a radio station, a guy who's head of corrections, and someone who deals with children on a daily basis. Talk about, how that kind of impacts you and the community.
Well, it certainly impacts the community. It impacts us. Fortunately, we got these guys. They've just been charged. They haven't been convicted, but certainly, I would think that the folks that you just mentioned, I'm sure that their employers are going to want to know more information.
Does it surprise you that people like this were, some of those that were arrested?
Nothing surprises me anymore. I've been doing it long enough that nothing really surprises me. It's disgusting, but it doesn't surprise me. Does it, Carl? You've been doing it a while too.
30 years, and it's always a different challenge and a new challenge, but you never know who's going to pop up on your radar in these types of investigations.
through the investigation, we found any real children that were harmed or in danger?
I think that's no. Is that correct, Lieutenant?
The case is still under investigation, but not this point.
You said that you're not surprised by anything, but are you surprised by the amount of arrests here? Going into this operation, did you think maybe I'll get 2 people, maybe I'll get 3 people? With the amount of people arrested here, does that shock you? Does that?
No.
I mean, it doesn't. Why is that?
No, because I know what's going on the internet. I deal with this every day. My people are dealing with criminal acts every day, and it doesn't surprise me. You could take a unit that just did that, and they'd be busy year-round. Because these people are not going to stop.
Now, I know you said that you don't want to go, too deep into the details of exactly how this all worked, but can you tell us at all, how you decided to go after these people? Was there a reason why you targeted them?
Yeah, these people responded to the internet. That's fair enough to say, Lieutenant?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you have a certain place was it the same place that you asked them to meet you guys for each of them? Was it?
I'm not going to comment on that part of it.
You mentioned that this is a fairly new endeavor. Did you expect to net so many arrests in such a short time? I know you said you're not surprised that these people are out there, but did you expect it to, you have 12 people in custody within a short amount of time working on this?
I don't know what the officers actually doing the investigation. Carl was one of them. I don't know what they thought. Doesn't surprise me. I was not surprised at all.
After this today, are you expecting to continue this and even, hit this harder?
We are going to continue. The Warren County Sheriff's, and I'll let Carl speak for himself, but the Warren County Sheriff's Office is going to continue our relationship with the FBI in this endeavor. We have, as I said, we've attached one of our investigators with their TOC unit, organized crime, drugs, child pornography. We're going to continue doing that. We think it's important. And with the federal assets, it's certainly going to be a lot easier to do. They're anxious to work with us. They're not here today because they're still doing some ongoing stuff. They gave us permission to discuss what we're discussing, but their PIO did not want to get involved at this point in time. But we're going to continue our relationship with the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Did this sting have anything to do with those arrests over in Fulton County? I think there were about 4. It sounded very similar, at least that we got there and what we're hearing.
I'm scared. Was the feds involved in that? I don't know about that. Do you know, Lieutenant?
No, sir.
No, I think it's a different.
Connected? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe that you will have a successful conviction in all of these arrests? A lot of evidence against all of these people?
Well, you know how it is when you get into a court of law. There's a lot of legal issues you got to do. We think we did everything right. I think we did everything right, Carl.
And then some.
And then some.
Above
So,
and beyond.
but you never know. It's yet to be seen. As I said, right now they're just charged. They're accused. We certainly have to go through the system.
Were there more? Were there some that took the bait initially, but didn't show up on the final date?
There were some trollers out there that we didn't get. Is that accurate, Lieutenant? And I think there was quite a few, correct?
Is there a common geographical thread here, since these people are from a wide, different counties and everything, where the meetup's supposed to be in?
I think the only common thing,
Here.
Tom, is that they all wanted to have sex with kids. And
Right, but I mean,
they'll show that they'll
We're here in
travel.
Warren County, and so, excuse me, go ahead.
The only common ground, as I said, is that they wanted to have sex with kids. As you can see, they come up from Westchester County, they come from Massachusetts. When they're looking on the internet, they don't care where they go. If they think they're going to be able to have sex with a child, they're going to drive.
But the purported meetups were going to be here in Warren County?
All in this area here, correct.
Okay.
We're prosecuting through the district attorney's office these cases. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is not sure if there's any federal crimes yet that they might jump in on, but right now it's a state case.
Now, I know you said that you can't right now determine if there are any, real children who have been affected by these people, but if there are, children or parents out there who, feel some, connection to these names, what should they do?
Well, I think one was a school bus driver, correct? Yeah, I would hope people are starting to talk. And I don't even know where that gentleman's from, I shouldn't say gentleman, he's not a gentleman, wherever that person is from.
Mechanic,
They should start talking to their kids if they ride the bus, yes. And we got a corrections officer, are you kidding me?
I mean, and if there are people who feel like they have, if their parents are victims or if they themselves have been victims of these people, should they be contacting you? What are the next steps for that?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think certainly they can call us here at 743-2500 or the New York State Police at
745-1035.
So either one of us would look into it. Certainly we're hoping that these people that were arrested, these 12 people, that wherever they're from, that the people that live in their location would start them to thinking, oh gee whiz, this person's been babysitting for me, that they call us so that we can look into it further and possibly get more charges on these people. Guarantee you this is not their first time.
Have any of these people who were arrested spoke to investigators, admitted something, said I'm sorry? Have they said anything?
We got admissions for all 6 of the defendants that we arrested.
All 6 of the state police
Of the state
defendants?
police?
State police defendants, correct.
Lieutenant,
All 6.
let's just say, Lieutenant says we get confessions from all 6 of our guys as well.
Confessions to prior incidents?
No, to this incident.
So all 12?
Yes.
No.
Is that accurate, Lieutenant?
Yes, sir.
All 12 were admitted
I can
to.
only speak to the sixth.
Well, he said that their 6 did as well. Certainly they're not going to owe up to anything that they've done prior to this. That's where we're helping that your news reports will get somebody thinking, like the school bus driver. People should talk to their kids if they rode the bus to see if there's anything like that.
And my last question here is, how serious are these charges that a lot of them are facing?
They're all felonies. And then I'll ask you, how serious do you think they are? I think they're pretty serious when you involve the 9 and 14-year-old girls. That's sick. We in society got to start doing something about this. And when you get somebody that is convicted of having sex with a 9, 10, 11-year-old girl, and they only go away for 2 years, there's something wrong with the system. We need to change the system. The legislators need to change the system. If you're going to abuse our children, you should be taken off the streets for life. I'm sorry, I feel that way. Because when they get out, they abuse another child and affects another family. So we got to, as a society, got to start thinking about stricter penalties for these people that abuse our children. They're ruining our future.
Do any of these folks have priors that either of you know about?
You guys?
For the 6 of the state police arrested, prior incidents similar to this, no, not that we discovered.
Lieutenant,
So I'm sorry, I didn't get a question.
any of our arrestees have prior arrests for this type of thing that you know of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Is nabbing these 12, before they were able to actually do something with a child, is it better this way than catching someone after the fact? Is that the reason you got into this sting?
I'll let you answer your own question. Of course it is. A little child is not abused. Of course it is. It will always be better to get them before than after. Always,
As far as we know, though.
as far as we know.
Right.
I can't tell you whether these 12 people have abused other children. You want my gut feeling, my 40 years of experience? Absolutely. But we don't know that. We can't prove that. That's just human nature. I don't think this is their first time. This is not their first rodeo coming here doing this. You don't just learn once. It's like getting a drunk driver. You usually don't get him on the first time. He's been doing it a long time when you finally catch him. So I think it's an epidemic that we need to do something about.
You seem to get very angry about this.
I am angry. I have a lot of grandkids. I have a lot of kids. Wouldn't you be angry if somebody did this to your kid? I think, and again, it's something we in law enforcement have been doing for a long time. We've been arresting these people. They've been getting out of jail. They've been doing it again. That's what's frustrating. In 40 years of doing this, I keep seeing them getting out after 2, 3, 4 years. That's not right.
Talk a little bit more about the whole social media aspect of things. I mean, I'm sure that's changed a lot over the past several years as far as, you know, how you guys as law enforcement go after these types of people.
Well, certainly the social media stuff is way, I'm not very good with that, okay? But fortunately, we got some really good people, and I don't know if you're good with it or not, Carl, but you got some really good people who know how to do it too. So fortunately, we have people that work for us that are younger generation that know how to look at this stuff and see what's happening out there, to see what they're using social media for. They're using social media for criminal stuff, and it's you got to stay ahead of it.
Does it make it easier for you guys to find these types
I
of
think sometimes it does. Certainly with the social media out there and somebody starts bragging on social media and people start talking, sometimes it makes it a little easier for us to find someone because they bragged about it.
And I know you can't get too much into this particular investigation, but were you guys looking at, you know, Facebook, you know, message boards? Can you tell us anything about, you know, how you would contact these people? Or...
Lieutenant, can you enlighten us? Is that's basically how we started this? Is that they were seeing things on message boards? Is that correct?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Not to oversimplify, but we understand that there's sexual predators having an online presence. We inserted ourselves under a false identity and received some feedback from people interested in being a
Yeah, and just so you know, folks, and I know from Senior Investigator Maybaum, they don't have the time, nor do we have the time to do this consistently. You need people with expertise to do that. That's why we felt it important that we align one of our investigators with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, because they have techie people that are doing the footwork and saying, hey, there's a problem here. Let's get the locals involved and let's start making some arrests. So it's good to have the technical people and how to do it. And I know, like I said, Carl's people don't have time to do it. My people don't have time to do it. But we do have time to get involved together as a group, as a task force to do it, especially when you got the feds helping out to begin with.
That
Now,
false
obviously-
identity, were you posing as those young girls, or were you posing as a pimp?
Is that yours? Was yours the false identity, or was ours the false
It was
identity?
yours.
You know, I don't know about that. Do you know what the false identity was, Lieutenant?
It was both the young girls
We
and
we can assume a variety of identities in this challenge and message boards.
How do you get charged?
Whatever
How do you get charged with attempted rape if the victim doesn't exist?
That's a question for the prosecutors. I wouldn't even attempt to answer that one. It is a charge. Certainly, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know if you know this, Carl, but we've been working directly with the district attorney's office on this case. Is that true?
The district attorney's office has been involved in the process since it started. We've got their legal information with every step of the process, operational.
That's something you certainly have to ask Kate Hogan or her crew about. Sorry, I can't answer it, but
It's an attempted rape charge because they believed they were having sex with the underage child, but it wasn't actually a child. That's why it's knocked down to an attempt. If it was obviously an actual child, we caught him in the act, heaven forbid, then it would be a full rape sentence.
Obviously, you can, you know, keep arresting these types of people and keep getting these types of people off the streets, but obviously you guys have been doing this for a long time, and people don't just go away. What can parents do to talk to their children to make sure that they don't, you know, go to these message boards or wherever these people would be, you know, an actual child to get caught up in this.
Or even the signs, so when kids see something weird, you know, they can recognize what it is.
Well, you know, I think when my kids were younger, it wasn't this era, but it was always stranger danger type stuff. So you have those talks with your children. In this day and age, I think you still have the same talks. You got responsible parents; they're going to have these same types of talks with their children. And a lot of times, the children know more about the internet than the parents do. So it's important to get people involved. If parents don't know, they should get somebody who knows the internet and have these conversations with their children. That's the best thing I can say is, you know, talk about them, let them know that it's out there. There are people looking to harm you out there. That's why I try to tell my grandkids, don't put a lot of stuff on Facebook. I mean, you put pictures of your kids on Facebook and somebody sees a picture, oh, I like the looks of that person, where do they live? Boom. You know, they're going there. So it's very scary. That's why I don't like Facebook. I mean, I'm sure I'm an old dinosaur when it comes to that, but it's just another way for the dregs of society to find out what you look like and where you live. And I happen to like the looks of that one, I'm going there. That's the problem.
Police forces been into schools and educated kids about social media and what to...
Yeah, we try. I know the state police probably do it. We've done it. We send people into schools and do the social media thing. We do it a couple times a year.
You can lead a horse to water, but they're kids. You know, you can tell them 100 times, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But if all their friends are doing it and the peer pressure's there, guess what? You know, not saying that they're going to, but like the Sheriff York was saying, when I go home, I just show my kid the article. Read that. What happened to these 12 people? My son's 16, the other 2 are out of the house already. So he reads the article and says, oh yeah. I said, well, you want to ruin the rest of your life, you go do this. I can't say much more because once they're out of your sight, they're going to do what they want to do. However, if they are educated, knowing what the circumstances can be if they do get arrested, it's an eye-opener for them.
And to the New York State Police, do we know the exact charges for the 6 people who you processed?
I do.
I know the first one's listed by Washington. Oh, you have it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Investigator West could provide you with those charges later. Now, yes. You know, remember someone asked before what kind of charge this is. It is a felony.
Yeah.
However, the district attorney's office is going to play hardball with these charges, and the bottom line is, when it's all said and done, each one of these people are going to be on a sex offense registry. That is huge.
So they're all second degree for rape for the...
For a sex acts, yes.
For ours, he's getting the state police charges now. I just gave you the charges for the Warren County Sheriff's arrest, and they're getting you the arrest for the state police arrest.
Is this a particular problem in this area?
Not just this area,
Okay.
all over the United States.
Carl, who gets started?
Sure, first name's Carl with a K. Last name is Maybaum. That's M-E-Y-B like boy, A-U-M.
M-U-I-V-A-U-M?
Yes.
Okay.
And your title?
Senior investigator.
Can you talk about what would happen if these people are convicted?
Well, again, I'm not sure of the legal. It's different when they plea or when they're convicted after trial. There's so many rules that the judicial system follows. But they're going to do a minimum. If you get convicted of a felony, I know for sure you're doing a minimum of a year in state prison. You're not going local. What they plead to and how the attorneys work that out, again, I would even hazard a guess what they would get. But I'm sure, as what Carl just said, that Kate is going to play hardball with these guys.
Will they have to be on the registry?
Yes, he just mentioned that. They will have to be on the registry, yes.
And why is the bail sort of all over the place?
Determined by the judge.
Yeah, the judge determines it. And I can't answer that for you. I don't understand, because I saw that as well as I was reading it. Some were
Yeah, one was
10,000.
Some are 1,000.
I guess the judge would take into consideration what kind of job they have, where do they live, is there a chance that they won't come back, and I think he would up the bail if he felt that it was someone he didn't think would come back to show up for court. That's the judge's decision, not ours.
Do you expect any more arrests anytime soon?
It's ongoing investigation.
task force is gonna stay together and
The-
to do this?
At some point in time, we will, yes. There are some things that we haven't finished that we will continue to work on. And as I said, I hope that the people that are watching this will call us, know these people. Because that could open up a Pandora's box as well. Lieutenant, did we miss anything? We got it all covered that you...
Did great, sir.
Okay. Boy, huh? Carl, you got anything else? You're good?
Hey, Carl, you're with the state police or
Yes.
the FBI? State police?
The FBI has a task force, it's called ICAC, Crimes Against Children. And that task force is comprised of county, local sometimes, and state. The investigators are assigned by their specific departments to work with them. And if the FBI deems it necessary, they'll cross-designate them, meaning they will do a background check on them and determine them to be federal agent status when working on a case with the federal agents. We have troopers that are still troopers in New York State, but when working with the federal agencies, cross-designated, they can do federal investigations with them.
And these are all considered federal?
This was a a joint investigation. The Federal Bureau of Investigation provided a lot of the equipment and talent and information we needed to get this, because like the sheriff said, we don't do this on abilities. They do. You know, this is unfortunately common practice to them.
And they deferred prosecutions so far with state charges. There may be, as I said earlier, there may be some federal charges where they'll get involved in and make federal charges. Carl, also, I think we should mention your computer crimes unit over here. I'll let them know.
Yeah, the State Police's Computer Crimes Unit, most of them are cross-designated with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and are part of the ICAC task force. However, we did have Computer Crimes Unit people from the Latham unit up here assisting in the investigation.
My final question, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I know I did. Did any of these people bring drugs, alcohol with them to these?
Yes,
Okay.
paraphernalia.
Paraphernalia with them.
And the only thing I'll say, some of them brought also sexual paraphernalia. That's all I'll mention. I'm not going to get into it, but yes, and drugs.
And
Is that accurate, Lieutenant?
And have most of these people been fired from their jobs?
Oh, I have no way of knowing. That's not.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if they're still working.
Well, you've got the information. Call them.
Did you have anybody run, or were they pretty cooperative?
I'll let you answer that.
We had one individual that tried to kind of sneak away. However, when you have 5 or 6 individuals in SWAT-type gear with their guns pointing out, he kind of stopped pretty quick. Yeah, he didn't go too far. Most of, like I said, most of these people, they all cooperated. Most of them just nodded their head and said a few curse words and said they should have known.
Let's face it, some of them have some high-profile jobs. It's going to be embarrassing. It's no matter what the outcome is, it's certainly going to be embarrassing for them, right? Wouldn't you think? So, and I think you ask a good question whether they've been fired. That's not up to me to find out. I think that's up to you folks to make the phone calls and follow through with it.